What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. We are back. Dangle Bet Celly here live at FTN. Chris Meaney and the Eric Young here with you, listening on iTunes and Spotify. We greatly appreciate you. We apologize for last Thursday. I think we were both supposed to be here. Well, we're definitely supposed to be here. One of us anyways. I think you had some issues on your end. I was dealing with vertigo for the first time in my life. I do not wish that on anybody. I have never experienced that before. I just couldn't do the show. I couldn't power through. I just had the case of the dizzies. And again, like I've heard people talk about it before, and I've just been like, man, that sounds awful. And it was not great. So our apologies. We are back here today. 13 games on the ice, a lot to dive into tonight. We're going to try to keep this as quick pace as possible. But, I have been hearing from a lot of people, they like the pace of the show. They like when we break down the games, we have them time-stamped in the description. You're listening on iTunes or Spotify or watching on YouTube here with us live, hanging out, smash the like button. If you're watching the replay, we have the games kind of time-stamped. You're giving some goal scorers. I'll have some plays, not from every game, but we'll recap at the end like we normally do with our favorite picks and props and goal scorers and some fun little same-game parlays and things like that. But yeah. We got a lot to talk about, and you're rocking the Leafs Dougie Gilmore. It looks like
Wayne Simmons.
That's not a Wayne Simmons jersey, is it really? Oh baby, I see him on the desk the other day. It was pretty good. Nice. Okay, Wayne Simmons, local boy, Scarb's boy.
Love him as a player. I mean, didn't play for the Leafs much, but when he went there, I got this because I love him as a player. He's retiring. So
yeah,
it's fit.
Yeah.
Every day I try to wear a jersey that like makes sense for that slate of games. And obviously he's not playing, but just announced his retirement.
Toronto
Cheers to Wayne Simmons. Great player.
Right? Toronto Philly tonight too.
Yep.
There's a lot of games, but he played for both. And that's he's a good player at a certain point, right? Maybe not so much with the Leafs, but Flyers.
No, not with the Leafs. He barely played.
Kings, Flyers. And he played in the beer league. Played in Toronto in the summer league. He suited up for a couple games. Just obviously, he wasn't trying it there. There was one game I played against him. He was just having fun with his buddies, and it was off season for him. And
awesome.
It was pretty cool to see him out there and rip a couple pucks. For the people, look what I picked up. Oh baby,
here we go.
Here we go. A couple 10 cases of the Upper Deck Series 2. We're gonna get the Bedard 1 of 1, and we're gonna sell it for $1 million. Jokes aside, we did talk about that a couple episodes ago, and some people asked if we could break them on the show. We're not going to do it today. There's just way too many games to talk about, but we will do it in a future episode. I know EY is not crazy about the hockey cards, but it may have him stick with me, and maybe he'll give like a little.
Well, there was a point in my life where I was obsessed. I just don't know anything about it now. I know it's back, and it's definitely a thing. And
yeah, we'll break them out, and I'll give some inside analysis on a player or two when we do it. So here we go. Upper Deck. A Series 2, Fantilli, more money, more problems. Troy, never change. Daily handle, Simmons was a PTP. TJ Parker, that gross gray jersey. That's the 93, right? That's the one. That's what I remember as a kid when the Habs played the Kings in the finals, but the Leafs got knocked out in the Western Conference Finals, but they were rocking those jerseys.
Gretzky cheated.
Gilmore and Andrew Chuck. And
should have been a penalty. High stick Doug Gilmore.
I think we can all agree on that, man. Juan Potvin. I mean, I wouldn't want to go back and change it because the Habs did take care of the Kings, but Leafs and Habs in the finals would have been pretty good. Preds legend, Wayne Simmons. That's right. Preds legend. Daily handle now is good morning means EY. Everybody, sorry to hear that. Hopefully you don't get vertigo again. I don't wish it on anybody, that's for sure. Wanted to say what up to the crew as we normally do when we're going to get going here. Dangle Bet is back, top of the morning. Meaney had me searching high and low for the show on Thursday. My apologies. I'm not moving, currently doing research on these games. Evan's in the house. He had a successful weekend with the Canes. Listen, we don't like to toot our own horn here too much, but it has been an awesome couple of days at FTN. I hit a 33-1 on Saturday. And then I hit a 40-1 on Sunday. Same game parlay with the Jets. Second line looks awesome. Toffoli, Monahan, and Ehlers had 2 points each. Did the same thing the Saturday before. It was Johnny Gaudreau, Boone Jenner, and Alex Nylander, of all people. That's who we're putting our money on for that line to have 2 points, and they did. We got about 50, 60 units over the past couple of days at FTN. And if you're looking to join the family, it's a good time to do it. FTN March, promo code FTN March. Save yourself 35% at FTN Bets and FTN Daily. And you get all the picks from everybody across all sports. PGA now is in full swing. MLB is starting tomorrow. NFL draft, playoff push in the NHL and NBA, plus March Madness. And our guy Mike Kutry has like almost 300 units won in college basketball. Like, it's just unheard of. Alexander Nylander. It's Nylander's season. We talked a lot about him. We'll get to him in a little bit, but he is former top pick, I think 8th overall, maybe 2018, 2016, but he's getting an opportunity to play, which he just never had an opportunity to play. One season in Chicago, in Columbus, he's getting 3 or 4 minutes per game, more top power play, playing with the big boys now, shooting the puck. This is, I guess, officially an Alex Nylander show. We usually say that it's like a Kyle Connor show and things like that, but Trey loves the Hurricanes. Diehard MMA podcast in the house. Let's go. Massive slate. 13 games. Need more goals from Keller. We're going to get after it right now because there is a lot of games. Just always want to say what up to the crew. TJ Parker, you know what? Honestly, not going to lie. I did have a couple pops the night before. I had a beer league hockey game. We won to get to the finals, so there's some excitement. I had a couple, and I woke up the next morning and I was like, this isn't a hangover. This is not, I've had hangovers before, and I know that I'm flirting with 40 and they get different at that age, but this is not a hangover, and it wasn't, and it just did not feel good. Let's get after it. EY, my friend, let's go. I am like family, Crazy Steve.
I'm sure Crazy Steve,
but I'm sure you know what it means. Okay, Let's go. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to start on this 13 game slate? Let's start strong. Where are you going?
Let's go Winnipeg, New York Rangers, man. That should be good.
It should be good. A potential Stanley Cup preview. Could we say that? Could we see a Canadian team in the finals for the first time since 1993? We do have the Jets and we do have the Rangers here. And both teams are playing really good. The Rangers playing a great brand of hockey all year long. And Shesterkin looks really good lately as well. Minus 122 at home using the prop shop parlay calculator. Best possible tools out there. Free tools. You get the best possible number. Save yourself a little bit of time and a little bit of cash. FanDuel checking in at minus 122. The Jets is dogs, just slight dogs, plus 106 over at Bet Rivers. So as said off the top of the show, a lot of success. Myself personally over the past couple games now. They're not playing the Blue Jackets. We cleaned up the other night. Toffoli, Point, Ehlers, Point. These guys are near even money. Toffoli's got, I think, 3 goals in a couple games already with the Jets. That second line looks really good, man. A couple former Habs there with Monahan and Toffoli, and Ehlers there. I know it's a tougher matchup, but I'm going right back to them. A couple things that I already have in our Discord NHL plays. Got Toffoli for a point at minus 130 at DraftKings. And I am going to go back to that line. And again, I know it's a bit of a tougher matchup, but there's definitely some chemistry there with those two. At 365, Toffoli, Monahan, and Ehlers all for a point is plus 450. And for those guys to have 2 points is 75-1. Now, it's not the 40-1 that we hit over the weekend, but 75-1 for a little bit of a small sprinkle on the 2-point night. That's where I'm at. I don't think we'll see a lot of goals because of the goaltending on both sides, but I know that you got a couple goal scorers for us, and I got to imagine Toffoli or one of those Jets is on your list.
Yeah, absolutely. I got Connor, of course. He's plus 175, and Toffoli at 220. On the New York side, I'm going Kreider and Panarin. Panarin's shooting more than he has maybe ever. Carrying the team, such a great player. I'm with you in lockstep. That line of Ehlers, Monahan, and Toffoli, it's really the perfect mix of offensive players, right? Monahan is so good in the middle of the ice, good at distributing the puck. Ehlers, master forechecking, crazy speed, strong on the puck, can make things happen, can pressure guys, cough things up. And Toffoli is I mean, he's slow, but he's always been slow and is just a master of getting rid of the puck, shooting the puck, and being in the right position to score goals. He's done it his whole career.
Man, he really has, no matter where he goes, too. And he has
Yep.
bounced around a lot lately. Like, he stayed in LA for a while. He had a lot of good campaigns there, won a cup. Was part of that 70s line, I think, with Pearson and Carter
Yeah.
and Toffoli. That was a fun line. That was in his young days. But yeah, I mean, goes to Vancouver, then goes to Montreal, then goes to Calgary, and goes to Winnipeg. He's on 4 Canadian teams in like 3 years. But everywhere he has gone, he has just filled the net. He is a lot slower, but he's smart. He's got a snipe.
Yep.
He's on that first power play. So I don't have a lot on the Rangers side. I think, there's better spots for same game parlays like Mika and Kreider is one that I consider. I never really do Panarin because he's always at 1.5 and he's just like minus 500 for a point. But Lafreniere is interesting for a point on that line. He's chipping in here and there. But Toffoli at minus 130 and Ehlers at plus 114, both at DraftKings, I think are interesting. Connor at 2.5 shots and Ehlers at 2.5 shots. Connor's at minus 140 and Ehlers is at minus 110. I think a pretty good prices for both of those guys. Really liking the Jets after some of those moves in the offseason or at the trade deadline. The Monahan and the Toffoli one gives them a really strong top 6, and they have a hard third line in Lowry and Appleton and Niederreiter. The Jets are going to be a tough out because Hellebuck is real good. Next game, where to? What's
Simmons Bowl, Toronto, Philly.
Okay, Simmons Bowl it is. Toronto and Philadelphia. These two teams played last week. Toronto took it to them. They're in Philly here tonight. It looks like Urson's kind of hit a rookie wall.
He was good there for a while, right? And weeks. He's been bad.
Yeah, they had to play Sandstrom there the other night. Okay, go ahead. What you got for Toronto?
Toronto side, negative 120 for Matthews, but I mean he's been automatic. I don't think he's going to get to the 75 like we talked about. I yelled at everybody. I still think he should win the Hart. I still think he's going to score 70. He's awesome. Nylander, this is a Nylander show. I got Alex. We talked about Willie. Alex. Now I'm talking about Willie. Willie at 165. I love that. Such a great player. And obviously, I think it might have been Troy saying it, like maybe Kyle Dubas isn't great at assessing talent. The fact that you have Alex Nylander, you give him up for nothing, and now he's doing this. Nothing. I mean,
didn't even give him a chance to play. He played.
He's a first-round player.
13 minutes. I don't get it. I don't really get it.
I don't get it either. That's obviously a massive mistake. And one, if Alex Nylander continues playing like this, it's going to be bad news for a couple people because it's not like Pittsburgh's the only team he's played on. Let's see here. Philadelphia, Owen Tippett, 185. And Joel Farabee is playing on some important minutes for them and playing on the top power play. Sneaky good player. I mean, I think we've mentioned him several times throughout the year, but he's at plus 310. So I love those odds.
I like those odds too. He is playing good. I feel like, and it's not everything to do with Konechny, but man, when Konechny's in the lineup and these guys are playing, he just, Konechny's got points in 3 straight. I think he missed a little bit of time. Farabee's got 3 goals over those 3 games. They're on a line together. He's got 9 shots in the 3 games. I like the call. I'm going to go to Tippett for shots. These two teams played a couple days ago, and Tippett had 4 shots and a goal. He had 8 before that. We laddered him up against the San Jose Sharks. That was a fun day as well. But I think just plus 100 for 4 shots is interesting. And the Leafs lines are all like, this is new, right? I know Marner's out, and he's out until at least Friday. But Tavares, Nylander, and Matthews are all on different lines. I kind of like the feel and the look. I don't think that like Auberg or Bertuzzi will be on the first line come playoff time. I think that they may load them back up, but Tavares on the third, and then Nylander and Domi seem to be clicking with Bobby McMahon. So there's some things that are kind of working right now and some stability and balance up and down their lineup. But Bertuzzi on the first line does check a box for me. So
he's been
I got him for. I mean, he had a goal and assist against the Flyers. Again, when they played, they won 6-2. It was in Philly. He has been good, much better here in the second half than the first half. He's plus 105 for a point. Like, that's all I'm looking for. He's on the power play. He's playing with Matthews. Matthews gets a goal. Maybe Bertuzzi gets the apple, gets the assist in there. Leafs minus 148. Interested in that? You think they win the game again, like 6-2? Or
yeah,
actually, wow, they've come down a little bit. You can get them at minus 134. I think that's a pretty good bet on the money line.
Yeah.
The goaltending in Philly does worry me a little bit, and they got a tough stretch coming up with some very, very tough teams. Man, it's all of a sudden it's a logjam in the East to get to those couple wildcard spots. Bertuzzi point plus money, and we'll go tip it 4 shots, and I do like the Leafs on the money line. EY, next, where are we going?
Let's go. We're just talking about it. Pittsburgh, New Jersey. I mean, 2 teams like literally fighting for their playoff lives. And I mean, neither of them are mathematically eliminated, right? But it's just, I do feel like it's bizarro land. They both should be better than they are, but here we are.
Yeah, I think the Devils are toast.
Are they toast?
They should have traded for. I think they're done. The Devils. I think they're done. They just have too many teams. Like, you're right. They're not mathematically out. You look at the wild card, the Lightning at 78 points. The Caps are in the final wild card spot. The Capitals are there.
Yeah. Not something I think we're going to be talking about.
Hell no. Right? And even at the start
Especially
of the season,
if you
how are they winning games?
Ovechkin had 20 goals. Like, if you told me at this point in the season, I mean, however many, what has he got, 20, 21?
He's scored twice last night, so I think he's got 21 now.
Okay, so he's got 21. If you said
he's got like 4 in the first 2.5 months,
I would say retire. You're insane.
Yeah. Plus, they shipped off a couple guys, right? Mantha and whatnot. Anyways, 75 points, 67 games played. Then the Red Wings 74, Islanders 73. The Sabres are playing good hockey lately, 71. The Pens at 69. The Devils at 68. So the Devils, you're right, not mathematically out of it. They're 7 points back, but they got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams to leapfrog and chase. So a lot on the line here tonight for both of these teams. A loss would basically do it. You'd be done. You need to get the 2 points and the full 2 points probably. I'm not going to put my hard-earned bucks on either of these teams. There's no consistency. Jack Hughes hasn't looked like Jack Hughes since Travis Green has taken over behind the bench. He's not shooting as much. The attempts are down. They're still getting a healthy amount of attempts. I'm not putting them through, I guess, defensemen and whatnot. For the first time since Green took over, he actually played him with good players. He put him with Bratt and Nico Hischier. Like, load up your top line. Don't put Jack Hughes with Eric Holla. Like, put Jack Hughes with Nico Hischier or Bratt or Timo Meier. Like, it's time. Like, put them with good players. So I'd like to see in that in the last game. Jake Allen has had 2 really good starts for them. One of them was a win against Dallas. The other one was the loss against the Golden Knights. I would expect him to start tonight. And on the Pittsburgh side of things, it's just, I don't know, man. I watched them play. They generate shots in the last 2 months. They're up in the top 4 in shot attempts and shots, but they're dead last in shooting percentage, and their power play is awful. It's been like that all year. They've generated all these chances. They played a good brand of 5-on-5 hockey, but they can't score, and their power play is no good. So there's only 2 guys that I like as Rust. And after saying all that, I do think Jack Hughes will have a good night tonight. So I like Hughes to score, to get 5 shots. And I like Brian Rust on the other side to pick up a point. I think he's like minus 145.
Yeah, I'm going to go Crosby because he's everything. And I mean, he's just going to scrape and claw, man. You mean, he's been doing it all year. Without him, this team is lost. Malkin has been almost invisible, right? Like, I mean, he's cooked. The Carlson experiment was a flop. I mean, they have one of the worst power plays in the league, which is just completely unexplainable. It's completely unexplainable. Completely.
Shocking.
I think Sullivan's a good coach, but I mean, someone's got to be responsible. You know what I mean? Like, can't fire the players. I mean, other coaches that are, I mean, clearly were, pretty rough. It's questionable losing Dougie Hamilton. We've talked about that. Whatever. Pittsburgh, I got Crosby at 155, and Bunting has looked really good. Playing for Pittsburgh, I think it was just a mismatch in Carolina. He was fine, but not, him playing on this top power play and him, just his style of play just is going to going to do a lot for Pittsburgh. He's at plus 290, and he's looked good since going over there. Like you said, I got Hughes at 120, and Timo Meier seems to, with the coaching change, has been better. He's at 155.
So weird to see the last 3 games from Jack Hughes: 3 shots, 1 shot, 0-1. Like, it's just a guy we were like
7,
8, 9,
11.
10, 11.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening here lately? Brian Russ is minus 150 for a point, so it's a little steep, but I do like it. Just linked to Crosby, top power play, and the 5-and-5 line. He has been shooting quite a bit. Erik Karlsson as well is at 2.5 shots. Since you brought him up, I was thinking about what I saw in the last game. And I know it was against the San Jose Sharks, but I think he had 13 shot attempts in that game against San Jose. It was Detroit. He's been shooting. He's got 7 shots in his last couple. He had 1 game with 9, 4, 2, 1, 3, and 4. So he's logging, of course, a lot of ice time. 26-56 he played the other night against the Rangers. So a lot of attempts are coming from him. He's still in that power play. So I think at 2.5 shots at minus 110 is okay. And I'm just going to move on. From. I think this does feel like a game where we could see 6 or 7 goals. We'll see how the lines shape up in New Jersey. I may do like a same game parlay with Nico Hischier, Bratt, and Jack Hughes if that's the trio that the Devils roll out tonight. I'll be interested in that. But I think both teams are just a complete mess. Somebody has to win. Maybe it goes 12-round shootout. Let's go Boston, Ottawa here next. There's a couple plays that I like in this game. I'm going to keep things simple here. It's the 2 centers for the Boston Bruins in Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle. I just think that for the most part, they've been underrated all year long in the betting market. I think these guys were both trade deadline winners in the fact that Boston didn't grab number 1 center. They didn't grab Elias Lindholm. They didn't grab Sean Monahan. They didn't get Adam Henrique. They decided to roll with what they got. That may hurt them in the playoffs, but Pavel Zacha is quietly on a 7-game point streak. He's got 5 goals over that span. He's got a 3-point game, a 2-point game. He's minus 135 for a point. I think we put in last night minus 125 for a point. So yeah, we have seen a little bit of movement. Minus 125. DraftKings is now minus 145. Yikes. I still don't hate that number. BetMGM is offering minus 135 for a point. He's also plus 135 for an assist. He is playing with Pasta. The Sens are a mess. We can't keep the puck out of their net. They just got worked over by the Hurricanes in the last game. And then Charlie Coyle is minus 125 for a point, so he hasn't moved. I like Zacha more because he's playing with Pasta and because he's on that first power play, but Charlie Coyle has been good as well. He's got 23 goals in the season, 31 helpers. He scored twice in the last game against the Flyers, and he is playing with Marchand, and he's playing with Jake DeBrusk. So I'm taking the 2 centers in Boston tonight for a point. I like the Bruins to win the game. It's juiced. You can get them in 60 at minus 140, which I think is okay. That's what I got. I'm the Sens, whatever. Stützle shooting the puck a little bit. Pinto's had some nice moments, but I'm going to ride the 2 Boston centers. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go Brady Tkachuk at 155 and Giroux at 310. I mean, Giroux has not played
great
as well as he was earlier, but I mean, I don't know. He at the start of the year, he kind of everything. Still a conundrum for me. They just should be a better team than they are. Can't get a save, can't stop pucks from getting put on net. It's just a disaster there. Boston side, Pasta at 110 and DeBrusk at 240.
Nice. Just catching up in the chat. There's a lot here. TJ says on the Rangers race to 2 goals, minus 110. Not bad. I mean, Helly is a good goalie, right? It's gonna be a good game tonight. Any chance Philly takes out some anger on Toronto putting out power play up 6-1? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. They should focus on winning games. I don't think you need to get crazy about that. Bothered with that 6-1 power play, whatever. Don't get down 6-1. Why do those teams get pissed at that? If it's 9-2, don't put out your number 1 power play. If it's 6-1 and the other team puts out their number 1 power play, maybe their power play is struggling. You get into the playoffs here. What's Sheldon Keefe supposed to do? Not put out his top power play because he's worried about the feelings the Philadelphia Flyers may have? That stuff I get bothered when teams get bothered about that.
Me too.
Like, come on, man.
This is professional sports.
Stanley Cup aspirations. Let's get out there and get the power play clicking, right? Who cares? It's like
this is how
in
people
baseball
get paid.
Up 6-1 in the 6th inning. One guy steals second.
Rip.
Oh my goodness, can't steal second. Yeah. They're up 5 runs. Like, shut the hell up. Bunting 2.5 shots plus money. I do like it. I was hammering him the first couple of games. He's off the Crosby line. EY likes him tonight to score on the power play. I think it's a good call. Madman is in the building. A Maniac waiting for the Maniac parlay hits without a question tonight. Allen ain't it. I tell you what, Jake Allen's a good goalie. He may not be it, but he's better than anything else the Devils have put out there this year, right? Yep. And that's including Kakinen, who they picked up, and Vitek Vanacek, who's no completely. Good. Nick
they've been bad.
Yeah. And he was great against Dallas. He let in a couple soft ones early, maybe some nerves, and he was great against Vegas. So he's a good goalie, man. I wouldn't chalk it up. I wouldn't look too much at his numbers this year with the Habs. He was playing like once every 17 days. Hard to get into a rhythm there, but I think it's more on the Devils' defensive structure. Brzis, welcome in. Let's go. Been busy with NCAA brackets. 'Tis the season. Okay, you guys are Lee's Go Sharks or trade away what's left. Love that. Pinto has fallen off the last 4 games. I agree. I know Pinto. Stützle is the guy that's shooting the puck there. Marchand 400th goal tonight. Could he get that done? Cool. That's awesome.
What a player.
What up, boys? I agree. I think maybe TJ agrees with us about the feelings that could be hurt from players. But
they
I
may
tell
be
you what,
mad
Tortorella
and
don't
they
care about that.
Him. But I mean, like, just is professional hockey. Like,
yeah, whatever.
Not trying to do what you're paid to do is insane. I mean, it's just insane.
Let's get going. Let's keep going.
Yep.
All right. Troy's been waiting for it. Blue Jackets and Red Wings.
I like this.
Here we go. Take it away, sir. What you got over there?
This is an Alex Nylander show, man, and he's still plus 260. He scored 8 goals in 11 games or whatever it is. I mean, there may not be a hotter player in the NHL right now, and he comes into the team. He goes straight to the top line, straight to the top power play, and he's being rewarded. And this is making. I believe he played in Columbus before, right? Did he not?
I don't think.
I know he was in Chicago.
Yeah, he was in Chicago, and he was drafted by the Sabres, I believe. That's probably something to think about. Buffalo. He was drafted by the Sabres, 8th overall, 2016. Had that right. But this is like 4 games with Buffalo in 2016, 3 games with Buffalo in 2017, 12 games with Buffalo in 2018. Then he plays with the Hawks, Chicago. He plays 65 games, scores 10 goals, and has 26 points in 65 games. Not bad. Then he goes to the Penguins, plays 9 games in 2023. Then this year, Penguins gave him 5. In Columbus, he's played 12. Like, this is the most he has played. The 12 games with Columbus and the 5 games with Pittsburgh is the second most he's ever played in a season for an 8th overall pick in 2016. And if you want to just look at ice time, I mean, it's absolutely significant. It's night and day. Like, how did the Sabres not give him a chance? How did the Blackhawks just say, we don't need you? And then Pittsburgh, like, what?
I don't know. But this is cool to see. Highly drafted player finally getting time to play and playing with some good players. All for it. Plus 260, hammer away. And I'm going to go. Marashako hasn't been good, but they still believe in him. He's playing important minutes. He's playing on the top power play. Still a good player. Plus 230. I think he could get one tonight. Detroit side, I'm going Kane, and Lucas Raymond's been awesome for them all year. We've talked about him a bunch. This is another thing. It's cool to see a guy that's, kind of highly thought of, highly drafted, hadn't done much, played on some rotten teams, and now Detroit is starting to, I kind of want Detroit to make the playoffs. I think the NHL is a better place when Detroit plays in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The Kane story, like that surgery, has been a death nail for almost everyone else that's got it. Not for him. He's been unbelievable. He looks like he did 3 or 4 years ago. So this is exciting, and I want Detroit to get in.
I don't know who I want to get in. I guess I'd be okay with that. I like Kane, Showtime, Patrick Kane. I tell you what, the Red Wings have been playing to a lot of overs, and I see what you're saying here. Your boy Tarasov has been good. He says under 6.5. He says since February 23rd, a 942 save percentage, first among goalies with at least 5 starts. He has been really good. He's the truth, the 6'5" Russian. A lot of Russians over there in Columbus. But my one issue with the under is just Detroit, I don't know what's happening with them. I think it's definitely has something to do with Dylan Larkin. Like, he is a really good defensive center. You take him out of the lineup, all of a sudden, like they've tried with Veleno as the number 1 center there. JT
top 10 center in the league, right? He's unreal and has never got the flowers, I feel.
Look at some of these games, like 5-3 loss to Islanders, 4-0 loss to Florida, 7-2 loss Colorado, 4-0 loss Arizona, 5-3 loss Vegas, 7-3 loss Buffalo, 4-1 loss Arizona, 6-3 loss Pittsburgh. There's a lot of overs with these Detroit games, and they have lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their last 9, man. And they can't keep the puck out of their net. They as busy as Yzerman was in the offseason, he didn't do anything at the deadline to help this squad out, like nothing between the pipes. So I feel your vibe on potentially the under there, but I kind of have a lean to the over just with what I've seen in these Detroit games. They can score a couple. Nylander over 2.5 shots. Put this in last night. Let's just ride this out. I think I saw the comment from Evan earlier. Plus money days are over, but it's still a pretty good price. Put it in last night for him to have 3 shots at -110. I am seeing now -130 at DraftKings. BetMGM is the best price I'm seeing right now at -125. Check FanDuel. FanDuel and BetRivers is pretty good for shot props. And I will go back to that line tonight. I think I'll go Jenner and Gaudreau for a point at +160. It's something I've been doing, just taking those guys for points at +160. Taking Nylander for a point as a solo bet at +110. And then take the line for 2 points. It's 35-1. Jenner, Gaudreau, and Nylander. We already hit this one. Let's
like that.
Try to go back to it. So, yeah, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Like maybe Nylander gets 1 point and Jenner and Gaudreau get a point. You get the +160 for the 2 guys. You get the plus money for the single. And if they chip in on another goal, then you get 35-1. But Kane and DeBrincat, they're back together and they're +125 for a point. So it's pretty solid as well. We'll move on. But Nylander, man, we talked a lot about him and it's certainly warranted. The guy's also shooting the puck a lot. Really cool story. You're right. 13.52 average in 5 games with Pittsburgh. 0 points, 10 shots. In 12 games with Columbus, he has the 8 goals, 11 points, 16:30. So he's averaging over 3 more minutes. And he never got any power play time in Pittsburgh, I don't think. Maybe second unit.
No,
maybe.
Barely played.
Maybe second unit. Definitely minutes in
and
the
the
power
second
play.
unit doesn't play, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Malkin, Letang, Carlson, they don't come off the ice.
Yeah. He's shooting 19.5%, which is unsustainable, but he's got 41 shots through 12 games. So you can do the math. The 2.5 is a bet that we like. Next one. Where are we going here next?
Let's do Carolina Islanders.
Okay. Yeah. My goodness, man. How many times have we sat here? We've done multiple shows. Dangle Bet Celly's been around for a couple of years. We did 4 stacked lines at the Athletic. And I feel like every time we talked about Carolina heading into the playoffs or at the deadline, we just said they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough to get any offense on this squad. Like, where's the offense going to come from outside of the top line when they get into the playoffs? And we saw them in the 3rd round last year get swept by Florida. And it wasn't because they got blown out. I think maybe 3. I know 2 games went to overtime. I think Kachuk was a hero in a couple. They just couldn't get that goal. You want to talk about a big deadline winner of Evgeny Kuznetsov. I think that this guy is a must-own player in season-long leagues. He could be a difference maker for you in your fantasy hockey playoffs. And I haven't been the biggest Kuznetsov fan since they won the cup, and he could have made a case for him for Conn Smythe. He had a great playoff run. Ever since then, he's just been a guy that doesn't really shoot. He falls into assists here and there. maybe a couple power play points, not going to hit. So not a lot of value in fantasy. He was on my fade list in the draft kit. Now I just want him everywhere that I can get him. I got him in a few leagues. His ownership is only 25%. His last 3 games, Eric, he's got 2 goals and 4 points. He's got a power play point, and he is shooting the puck 3+ shots in 4 straight games. He opened up on the 4th line. He quickly moved up to the 2nd line. I haven't seen Carolina's lines this morning. They change them a lot, but they put Aho with Gensel, which I think needs to happen. Get a guy like Gensel, put him with Aho.
Makes sense.
And then they got Svechnikov, Kuznetsov, and Necas, and that line was buzzing.
That's been awesome. Yeah.
Buzzing. So, yeah, man, I like the Hurricanes on the money line. And
another cool story with Kuznetsov. He scores, and he's like, they're cheering for him. He wins the star of the game or whatever. And like, he almost cried doing the stupid bird thing.
Stupid bird.
Brendan Moore's quote is like, I hated that thing, or now I kind of like it.
But I love it.
He's so good. Carolina, I'm going to go Gensel at 165 and Svechnikov at 200. That line has been unreal. And we've talked about Marty Necas forever, it feels like. I mean, going back to when we were doing this on the Athletic years ago. And it looks like that combination of players, for whatever reason, has just ignited him. He can skate. Like, this is the guy that we saw in the playoffs 2 years ago when he just took over games. He's an unbelievable player, but it's just like sometimes he's invisible, which makes no sense because he has all the skill. But yeah, I'm going to go Gensel and Svechnikov on the Islander side. I'm going Barzal, who's been a little quiet lately, but still love him as a player at plus 230, and Horvat at 220.
I'm trying not to get too excited with Hurricanes props because Sorokin's a good goalie, and I think that I could see this game, being like a 3-2 game or an under type of feel. But I do want to bring to you guys' attention the value that is with this Hurricanes team at the moment. Like, Kuznetsov is minus 110 for a point. He's plus 150 for an assist. He's priced as a capital. You know what I mean? Like, he is playing with some better players here. He's getting an opportunity power play. It's like new life. He's such a big winner because he wasn't going to play for Washington. So we're big Florida Panthers fans on this show. The second that they were rumored to get Gensel, we jumped in the Discord. We made a bit of a sprinkle at 13-1 on the Hurricanes. I still like them as a decent future. I think that they're ready, Brzis, for a run like 3rd round. I think that we could see a very similar 3rd round matchup where it's Florida and Carolina again. Florida gets through their type of the bracket. Carolina gets through their type of the. I like the Rangers, but everybody else, like the Flyers, be a tough out. These wildcard teams, I'm not going to believe in any of them. So like Carolina, Florida, I could see these 2 teams meeting again. Maybe it's a hedging opportunity if you're in on the Panthers, but Kuznetsov, I'm not seeing a shot prop for him anywhere, and I never really would consider him, man. But the fact that he's got 3+ in 4 straight games and just new life, they've won 3 straight. They've scored 16 goals in their last 3 games, and they beat Florida 4-0. They beat Florida 4-0. They beat the Leafs 5-4, and they just rocked Ottawa. So a couple things before we move on. I will do a couple same game parlays, even though again it is Sorokin and the Islanders here, but part of that is we're getting good value with it. Aho and Gensel for a point, minus 115, and then we'll do Necas, Kuznetsov, and Svechnikov. That Carolina second line is plus 300, 3-1. Line 2 for all a point, and then I'm gonna have to do it a little bit of a sprinkle, 40-1 on the 2 points. So I usually put the full unit on the 1 point, and then 0.25, just a little small sprinkle. I mean, if you put $25 on that Jets top line, you won over 1,000. You don't have to put 25, but you hit a 30-1, a 40-1, you're gonna have a profitable night, even if it's just like $1. You put up 35 times your money there. Carolina is good. Are you sold? Because I know you've been on the fence. Are you sold that they're legitimate contender now?
I believe more now in them because they've always been a team that doesn't go after the big free agent, the rental. They did that. And not only did they do that, like obviously adding Kuznetsov, which I thought was a moot point, apparently is not. Like, I mean, he's been invisible in Washington. I mean, he's been in
new life for him.
Probably should have won the Conn Smythe whatever the year that they won the cup. I mean, since then he hasn't been great, and the last 2 years he's been almost invisible. I mean, I know he went into the players assistance program and hasn't played a ton this year, but when he did, he was just nowhere to be found. I mean, he looks like a completely revitalized player. For me, it's going to come down to, can they bend on the way they play over the next few weeks? Like, playing the way Brindamore wants them to play is absolutely exhausting. I've been hammering this for 4 or 5 years. I have not changed my mind on it. And in the end, do you believe Freddie Anderson can be the guy?
That's the thing.
I'm not sold.
Yeah. I almost feel like they need to go game for game with their goalies.
100%.
I like Kochikov,
and that's just no way to play in the playoffs, right? I mean, I think they've done all the right things, but they didn't address goaltending. And in the end, that's kind of what has always bit them.
Yeah, absolutely. When they lost to the Lightning a couple of years ago, I thought they were a better team, but they couldn't score any goals, and then they let in the soft goal. And Anderson's been hurt; he can't play back to back.
Maybe they don't need to score. Maybe they can score not more now, right? Like, I don't know. I haven't believed them as much as I do now.
It'll be interesting to see what they do in net, right? Because Anderson hasn't played back-to-back games in a long, long time, and can he handle that? Do they go goalie for goalie?
Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they think he can, but they're, it's not like he's been a paper doll the last couple of years with injuries and stuff. So that maybe they're doing it on purpose. They're obviously going to play in the playoffs. They're a good team. Brindamore, I think, is a good coach. Gensel, if going to a new team like that, like, you just never know what's going to happen, right? Like, he was great playing with Sidney Crosby.
Chemistry can't be any better.
Chris Kunitz.
That's the thing. Like Gensel, like it can't get any better for him, like with Aho, than it was for Crosby. You know what I mean? But it is a big step for them, as we alluded to. They picked up 2 Stanley Cup winners in that trade, so they have some guys that know what it takes to kind of get it done. So we'll see what kind of run they go on. Next up here, Colorado and St. Louis. Go ahead, take it away.
Look at McKinnon at 110. If someone else I think is going to win the Hart, if you're going to my vote is Austin Matthews, especially if he scores 70. But if I'm going to vote someone else, it's probably going to be McKinnon. And Casey Middlestat I think it's 370. He's playing on the top power play with those guys.
Pretty good value there.
I think is a very good player. I think playing Colorado is going to open people's eyes to how good Casey Middlestat really is. St. Louis, Jordan Kyrou at 220 and Jake Neighbors at plus 330. St. Louis, I was reading this thing the other day. Bennington's been one of the best goalies for the last month and a half, which
had a really good season.
I was completely unaware of. Yeah, and I'm embarrassed.
Wow,
it's true. I've been
kind of just write him off after it's just been so brutal. And
he was brutal. He was brutal. But he's been one of the best goalies in the league over the last month and a half, 2 months. So
and the Blues are right there, fighting for their playoff lives. I like McKinnon 5 shots, and I think last night put it in. I think it's still at a reasonable price here. Let me write down. I also like Nichushkin for an assist at plus 124. I just think playing with those top guys, playing with Rantanen and McKinnon. I like McKinnon for 2 points at minus 120. Seems to get 2 points every single night. DraftKings got a pretty decent price at minus 120. Usually go to him and McDavid when I see minus 120, minus 115. McDavid's 2 juice tonight to get involved with the 2 points. But McKinnon for 2 points and McKinnon for 5 shots, minus 125. Bet Rivers the best price I'm seeing. And the Nichushkin assist just because he's playing up on that top line power play at plus 124. I think the Avs win the game. All right, we'll keep going here. San Jose and Nashville, probably like a pretty good opportunity maybe to jump on some guys that we normally wouldn't, just given the fact that it is a matchup against the San Jose Sharks. You got like a little Mikhail Granlund revenge in your life. Him and Zetterlund have been pretty noticeable. It's the only thing I'll say.
I have Zetterlund on here because he's been pretty good. And what I like most about him, it's 310. UC Saros has been unreal. I'm not going to put a bunch of money on Zetterlund in the score, but I always pick 2 guys from every team. So I'm going to go Zetterlund and Eklund two important players for their future. Two players that are playing important minutes, both playing on the top power play, playing on line one and line two. Both of these guys are going to have to be good if the San Jose ever wants to dig their way out of this hole. Nashville, Forsberg, he's been everything offensively for them. 120. What a player. Gets paid, having one of his best seasons of all time. Yossi for Norris, it's insane. And I know it sounds biased, but he's just everywhere. He's awesome. He's everywhere and everything. What a player. Evangelista he's been a little snake bitten. He's slick with the puck. He's a little guy, but he's really good with the puck. Makes the smart decisions. They want him to be a thing. That's clear with where he's playing and who he's playing with. And now they have him on the opposite side of Forsberg on the power play, and he's plus 270. I think he scores tonight.
Nice. I like that call. Like, this is an opportunity to grab some guys like that. Forsberg I put in last night for 4 shots. It was a little juicy. It was minus 140. I put 2 units on it. It's now minus 150. Maybe it's to the point where 2 units on a minus 150 play maybe is not the right call. But the matchup doesn't get any better than this. Like, there's no team in the NHL that has allowed more shot attempts, shots. They're number 2 or number 3 in scoring chances, high danger chances at a 5-5. They have allowed the most goals at 5-5 per 60 over the last 2 months, and they have the highest expected goals against. So the matchup is just phenomenal. Forsberg's been shooting. I think it's an opportunity to ladder Forsberg. We did it with Tippett against the Sharks. He had 8 shots. We can ladder Philip Forsberg up, and I've talked about this a couple times. I see some new people here in the show. So just like a quick little thing on laddering. I'm using Bet365. You can do this at FanDuel as well. So shots on goal, say you want to go Forsberg 4 shots minus 150. Maybe you put a unit on that. Then 5 shots, maybe you put 0.7 units, it's plus 150. For him to have 6 shots plus 290, maybe it's 0.5 units. For him to have 7 shots plus 550, 0.25 units, maybe 0.05 on the 8 shots at plus 850. You want to get nuts. He's 14-1 for 9 shots. Like, I don't think he's going to get 9 shots. He could get 9 or 10 shot attempts. The opportunities will be there for him. The Sharks are among the leaders in penalties taken as well. We know he's a trigger man on the power play. So, and he's had a couple games of late where he's had a bunch of shots on net. Just take a look at the back of the hockey card here. And 8 shots against the Buffalo Sabres, 7 against the Blue Jackets. Multiple games here were 5, 6, and 6. So he could easily get up to 5, 6, or 7 here in this game. Anyways, like the 4 as a solo play. Nyquist for a point at minus 150. Going to that line at Bet365. Got Forsberg and O'Reilly at plus 110 for a point. It's one of my favorite 2-leg parlays. And then it's 0.25 units on Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist for 2 points. That's at 20-1. But I like Nyquist as a solo. And I wanted to bring up Zetterlund. I know we touched on him a little bit, but man, he looks pretty good. And he was the return.
Yes.
That was the big piece that they got back for the Timo Meier deal. He is plus money for 3 shots. He's had at least 3 shots in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his last 8 games, and back-to-back where he's had 4 and 3. So he's cleared it there. Plus 100 for 3. He's also minus 115 for a point there. A lot of comments here on this game. I'll tee up the next one for EY, and I'll get to the comments if there's a question here. Buffalo and Vancouver. Man, Sabres are playing pretty good lately.
Yeah, Buffalo, Vancouver. Tage Thompson, it looks like he's kind of turned back into himself again, which is exciting for me and for hockey and for the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, obviously it's too late. I feel like they played Detroit the other day. They needed to win that game to keep their playoff hopes alive. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet on them beating Vancouver at home tonight, but Tage at 220, I love that. I can't quit Dylan Cousins at 290 to score.
I had him for 3 shots last night. He had 2 in the first couple of shifts, and then he was quiet, but he's been playing good.
Good player. They think he's a good player. It's clear by where he plays, who he plays with. Centering the top power play is something that I love for players. So that's that. Besser at 135. Said it 1,000 times. If they have their choice, Besser's the guy shooting the puck on the power play. That's why I pick him to play to score. And Elias Pettersson at 150.
Nice. Yeah, if you're at DraftKings, you can't do it, but Bet365 with the milestone points, you can take Forsberg at 1. But yeah, that's DraftKings was the 1.5, so you may have to do like a Nyquist and O'Reilly. But yeah, Bet365 will allow you to do the 1 point. I think FanDuel will allow you to do the 1 point. Actually, I don't even know if you can do that over at FanDuel. 365 is the place to go, man, for these same game parlays. It really is. I had a lot of success over the past couple of years with these. And we talked about this on the show. It wasn't just ESPN that messed up the ADP for Forsberg. Yahoo did as well. Yahoo had him as like the ADP was like a guy that was buried down as like a 13th round pick. And yeah, we were talking about him as like, you reach for him. You can probably get him in the 7th because your league is snoozing, and these other platforms. I don't know what that was. Maybe because he had an injury. I know it was a bit of an off year and there was an injury, but there was no reason for him to be going so low in drafts. So yeah, yikes. I'm not seeing anything. Sabres is a nice bet last night. Vancouver's kind of slowed down a little bit. You know, we talked about the puck luck that they had to start the season. I don't think is Demko hurt too? Like
he is.
Yeah, so there's a guy that's been hurt a couple times over the past couple of years, right? They need him. Like Casey Smith's good backup. But they're gonna need him. I don't have much in this game.
They said they didn't think it was very serious, but he's not playing right now.
Right. Taves Thompson over 3.5 shots plus 135. I do like as like a long shot play tonight. I know they played last night in Seattle. It's a tough turnaround, but he did have the 4 shots last night. And I've been waiting for Tuck and Tage to get going again. And it does look like over the past week or so that they're going, and the Sabres are making a push. I thought they were dead, man. I thought they were absolutely done. But they're making a push. Bowen Byram, the addition of Bowen Byram, guy's playing a ton of minutes on the top power play. I was looking for a shot prop for him, and I can't seem to find one, but that's a good move, I think, for both teams, but a really good get for Buffalo.
Yeah.
And move on.
So left wing lock is protecting Demko to start. So maybe he's back tonight.
I already see he's out now on Yahoo. Yeah, I think they're wrong because this report I'm seeing from March 11th says from Farhan Laji of TSN. Shout out to Farhan. He says Demko undisclosed may miss 2 to 3 weeks. So we may not see him until April. Yikes. Okay. Besser and Miller is in play for a same game parlay, like a point, and then Tage and Tuck, I think, are in play as well. But I think 4 shots for Tage is a decent one there. Okay, a couple more here. Montreal and Edmonton. Maybe a little bit of a lopsided affair. We have the Oilers checking in at minus 387 and the Habs at plus 310 tonight. The Habs have actually played in the most 1-goal games this season. They've been to overtime, I think, second most. They get like 11 OT shootout losses. They got the most 1-goal games, the most 1-goal losses. Like, been competitive all year. But for them to be competitive against the Oilers, I don't know. I used to live out west. I went to a lot of Montreal games in Calgary and Edmonton, and they never work out well for Bleu Blanc Rouge. The Habs got smoked against the Flames the other day. They hit a bunch of posts. I thought they deserve a little bit better puck luck, but now the turnaround here, Montembeault can do what he can to keep them in the game, but the Oilers are massive favorites for a reason, and I'll let you take it away because it's probably going to be I think.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say.
These guys are going to score goals tonight.
Yeah, Montreal, I got Suzuki 280, and look, I think Caulfield might score too, but Alex Newhook is still playing on that top power play, and he's plus 500. I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention.
It's pretty good for a guy on a top power play.
It's probably the highest odds for a guy playing on the top power play, which basically tells you all you need to know about Montreal's season. I'm not telling Chris anything he doesn't know. As a tear slowly rolls down his cheek. Edmonton, McDavid, and Draisaitl.
Yeah. What I will say about the Habs is that Habs fans should be pretty happy with how this season has gone. Yep. Montembeault they got something in Montembeault. They got Jacob Fowler, who was just named to the rookie team, NCAA. He's a player, great goalie prospect. The top line is elite. It really is elite. Like
Yep.
every time they step on the ice, they create chances. So I like Caulfield tonight for 4 shots at -112. He's been shooting. He finally scored the other day. Shooting percentage is low, but the attempts are there every night. Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky, when they touch the ice, they make things happen. Against good teams, doesn't matter. Bruins the other night, I felt like every time they jumped over the boards, they were making things happen. They will get their scoring chances tonight. Caulfield and Suzuki +115 for a point at 365. Slavkovsky's +105 for a point. I like those 2 plays. All the Edmonton Oilers guys are just too juice. Like David, for the first time all year long, is like -145 for 2 points. I don't know, man. He's probably going to get a couple points. Hyman's probably going to score. I would say the goal scorers in this game would be Hyman, Draisaitl, and Caulfield. Oilers probably win 5-2. Move on. But that top line, pretty good. And what I will say again for Habs fans, Joshua Roy looks like an absolute steal of a pick in the 5th round. It was the COVID year when not a lot of scouts got to see certain players. He fell to the 5th. Then he scored over 100 points the following year in Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He's scoring goals for the Habs. There's some chemistry there with him and Newhook. Decided to see if it's Newhook, Kirby Doc, and maybe Waugh next year, but also maybe the Habs should send down Joshua Waugh so they can lose some more games and get a top pick, because he's kind of ruining what they got going on, and that's tanking. Minnesota and Anaheim, another lopsided affair here tonight. One of my favorite plays in the game or on the slate I put in last night is the Wild in 60, 2 units on them to win in 60 at -125 at Bet Rivers. Maybe a unit on the puck line for them to win by a couple goals, but I think they take care of the Ducks in regulation, despite it being in Anaheim. The Ducks are done, checked out, not winning any games. The Wild are pushing for a playoff spot. We've seen how aggressive they've been with the overtime, pulling the goalie, and guys like Kaprizov and Boldy are just getting as much ice time as they can handle. Like, they are getting leaned on a lot, and I like that. And I just know that they're going to play like 22 minutes or so. So Kaprizov at +125 for a point. Is there any news on Eriksson Ek? Is he out still? Yes, he is out. So Ryan Hartman will get an opportunity again. You got him to score tonight?
I do, yeah. I mean, I like him as a player anyways, but if he's going to center that top line, like, yes, please. And FanDuel's got him at +210. So I love that. Kaprizov, I have at -110. He is their offense, like, just savage, just a savage player.
He's like 2nd or 3rd in points in the last 5 weeks too. He's playing really good.
He's turning it on, right, when they need him most, right? They're battling. Anaheim, Terry +200, Vetrano +220. Anaheim's bad. Oof, they're bad. It's ugly.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're don't care, bad, man. They're just
they need some sort of. I think we'll see Zegras trade in the offseason, and it's probably a bad time to trade him. Like, it's a bad time for him. It seems like you're selling low, but I also think there's a problem with him in the locker room. Like, I'm just speculating, but I think there's some sort of disconnect between him and the organization, maybe his teammates. We'll see what happens there. Kaprizov 2 points at +125. You mentioned Ryan Hartman. Like, Ryan Hartman, the last 3 games, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. And he's got 12 shots over those 3 games. So he has just taken the top spot. And again, they're leaning on that first line. He's -37 for 3 shots. He's -130 for a point. That's really good, guys, because Kaprizov and Boldy, it's hard to keep these guys off the score sheet tonight. I like the Hartman call for a goal because you're going to get some pretty good odds. But I do like Matt Boldy for a goal as well, +135 tonight. He's also +165 for 2 points. I mean, if I think Kaprizov's going to get 2 points, we could see Boldy get 2 points as well. I think it's a pretty good shot in the dark. I think the Wild win this one. In regulation, maybe I buy a couple goals and we'll attack that top line. 2 more, Tampa and Vegas. I'll let you kick it off. I hope you talk about Declare. If you don't, I will talk about Declare.
I'm going to let you talk about Declare. I mean, cool to see him there. I mean, we've loved him forever. Playing on the top line, which is great. Skating his ass off, which is what he's kind of done his entire career. Crazy speed, obviously a great piece for them. I think they really wanted a big time defenseman, but weren't able to get one. But Tampa Bay is still going to be in the hunt. They're still going to, they're still going to be tough a tough out. Kucherov at 155 and Braden Point at 165. On the Vegas side, I'm going Marchessault at 150 and Chandler Stevenson at 360. See, he has been quite, I thought, in the last couple years when Stone has gone out, Stevenson, they don't even play the same position, but Stevenson's ice time always seems to go up and he just turns into a savage. That hasn't happened yet, but I still believe in him as a player, and he's playing on the top power play, and the odds are plus 360. So I love that.
This should be a fun one, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of superstar players on both sides. Vasilevsky, I thought, was just absolutely phenomenal against the Panthers. After the first period, when they beat Florida the other day, I think the shots were roughly 34-4 in the last two periods. Of Vasilevsky was just on one, man. He looked like vintage Vas. As for Duclair, yeah, I mean, I do want to give him a little bit of love here. 3 games, he's got 2 goals, he's got 4 points, a point in every game. He's got a power play point. He's got 7 shots. I mean, he's trading in probably 3 or 4 minutes per game that he had in San Jose in top power play for Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov. That's a win. So he's not getting top power play with those guys. There was one game he played with Cirelli and Stamkos, but the last 2 games he's been with Kucherov and he's been with Point. He's plus 120 for a point. He's plus 240 for an assist. That is really good value for a guy that is playing with Kucherov, who's basically a 2-point per game guy, and Braden Point. Kucherov tonight for 2 points, I haven't looked, is actually plus 135. So it's not what we're used to seeing. But Vegas is expecting him to get an assist. He's minus 150 for an assist. I think Duclair could fall into a point tonight. I think Jack Eichel scores as well. I love the Eichel and Marchessault. Those guys got it going on ever since Eichel came back. They're kind of cooking there. Do you have Tampa is too inconsistent. They're not the same squad. I think defensively they have some issues. Who do you think wins the game tonight?
It's tough for me to bet against Vegas, especially at home. Aiden Hill has been good all year. I also have him in a couple of leagues. I think Vegas wins.
Yeah, I lean with Vegas too. It's 6.5. Vegas has won 3 of 4. 5-4 win, 5-3 win, a couple overs there hit. They're coming off a 3-1 win. Jack Eichel, again, he had 2 3-point nights. I think we got to jump on his shot prop. Jack Eichel, 3.5 shots. I'm going to put this one on the card. Minus 114 at Bet Rivers. His last few games, 8, 5, 4, 3, 6, and 5 since he's been back. He's had at least 3 shots in every game. He's cleared 3.5 in 5 of the 6. Tampa has been playing to just a lot of overs. That's why I was kind of thinking that. They've won 3 straight, 4-5, 4-3, 6-3 loss, 7-0 win, 6-3 win, 5-3 win. They played to a ton of overs of late. I think we'll see some goals in that game. Okay, Vegas at home. Brigitte is saying Golden Knights get it done. Last game, we made it.
Did it? Chicago
and LA, another lopsided affair tonight. There's a lot of teams that are in really good spots tonight. DraftKings and FanDuel DFS pretty tough on a 13-game slate. Go ahead. These 2 teams just played in LA, smoked them, and I expect the same.
Yeah, Bedard at 240. If someone's going to score, it's going to be him. And then I'm suggest maybe Tyler Johnson. Cool seeing him stick up for Bedard the other day in San Jose. Not a big guy, not a tough guy, but it was cool to see either which way. LA, I'm going to go Kempe at 145 and Kevin Fiala, who's been much better over the last month or so.
A couple plays I put in last night. Kempe Kopitar plus 105 for a point. I got Kempe Kopitar and Byfield 2 points at 22-1. Again, 0.25 units. This worked out when they played each other just over the weekend. I think it was Sunday. That line was back together and they all had 2 points. And Kopitar had a couple goals. They need Byfield back with those guys. Come on, that worked all year long. Put Byfield with those 2 guys and let them go. Byfield also for a point, just as a single play, is minus 145 at DraftKings. I put that one in last night. And I have the Kings. This line has changed a little bit. I have the Kings on the puck line at minus 137 at FanDuel. It's a 2-unit play for me. I think that they win this game by a couple goals tonight. And one thing I'll say, this question earlier, I think the Oilers are in play. There was a question. Where did that go? Oilers in 60 is a good parlay piece. I think it is. I put this one in last night as well. It's a little chalky, but I put Carolina. So Carolina over the Islanders, Nashville over San Jose, Boston over Ottawa, and LA over Chicago. All those 4 teams to win in 60 is 7-1. It's like 0.5 units for me. 7-1 in 60 parlay, but you could swap out maybe I would say if you wanted to swap out Carolina for Edmonton, that's fine. You go Nashville, Boston, LA, Edmonton, be a very similar price, probably 6-1. But I'd say those 5 teams, the Islanders could hang with Sorokin, but I think that the Edmonton Oilers, the Preds, the Bruins, and the Kings are all teams that are going to win in 60. Love the Bedard line skate. Bedard, we had Bedard and Khrushchev for a point the other night against the Sharks, but I can't go back to them. Yeah, I love that too as well. I love everything about Bedard, actually. People don't like him, but I like him. Okay, we did it. LA by 2.
You did it. Not bad either.
Still over an hour. What can we do? 13 games. All right, I'll start here with sides. We'll throw to EY for goals. We'll wrap up with a couple of my favorite props for tonight. So things that I put in last night that I'm still riding. Minnesota Wild in 60 in regulation to win in 60. I will say Bet365 is probably the best place to do it because you get the early payout. Things happen a lot in the NHL. I've seen so many times a team have a 3-0 lead and blow it. I'm surprised that Bet365 allows this. How many times have you seen a 3-goal lead and like a team up 3-0, all of a sudden it's 3-3, halfway through the game or in the third period, and maybe they lose that game and you don't win the bet, but Bet365 will give you the win if they start up 3-0. So I think it's worth it to maybe you pay a little bit more juice, but the best price I'm seeing anyways is at 365 minus 125. The Wild to win in 60, the Kings on the puck line, the Hurricanes money line. I also think Nashville in 60, Boston in 60, also in play with the Oilers. So some chalky affairs there. The singles on the Hurricanes and the Wild and the Kings, I think, are fine. Puck line Kings, money line Hurricanes in 60 Wild. Maybe a little bit of a sprinkle on the Wild to win on the puck line. And then that parlay that I have, Carolina, Nashville, Boston, and LA, all in 60. Tonight for an upset, if you're looking for a dog, I would say I'd say Tampa Bay is live as a dog, a slight dog, and I would say that maybe the Penguins. But again, I don't really want to put my money on Pittsburgh or New Jersey. But if somebody is looking for an upset play here tonight, I'd say maybe Pittsburgh or Tampa. I'll wrap up with some props, but take it away with some goal scorers.
All right, buckle up, everybody. Connor, Toffoli, Kreider, Panarin, Matthews, Nylander, Tippett, Farabee, Kachuk, Giroux, Pasta, DeBrusk, Crosby, Bunting, Hughes, Meyer, Alex Nylander, Marashenko, Kane, Raymond, Gensel, Svechnikov, Barzal, Horvat, Zetterlund, Eklund, Forsberg, Evangelista, McKinnon, Middlestat, Kyrou, Neighbors, Suzuki, Newhook, McDavid, Draisaitl, DeBrusk, Johnson, Kane, Fiala, Kucherov, Point, Marshall, Stevenson, Kaprizov, Hartman, Terry, Vetrano, Tage, Cousins, Besser, Patterson. The 8-way Maniac Parlay
Here we
goes
go.
as follows. Here we go. Connor, Matthews, Pasta, Crosby, Kane, Forsberg, McKinnon, and Bedard.
I like that.
Forsberg is the lock of the night to score.
Bedard's going to screw you over. You're going to go 7 for 7. You're going to be up late at night. We're looking for Bedard to score a goal. Nah, he's going to get one for you. He's going to score one.
He's going to get it tonight.
I like it. Okay, for me, I'll just kind of the article is going to be live here in a little bit over at ftnbets.com. Free article with like 3 or 4 of my top favorite plays. But for tonight, my top plays, I'll go to the 2 Boston guys. So we'll just kind of look at the board here again. The two Bruins players, Boston, Pavel Zacha, point, Charlie Coyle, point. I like Zacha slightly more. Forsberg for 4 shots. Gustav Nyquist for a point. I got Nathan McKinnon for 5 shots and 2 points. I got Cole Caulfield for 4 shots. I got Quentin Byfield for a point. Kaprizov for 2 points. Anthony Duclair for a point. Our guy Alex Nylander for 3 shots and a point. I have Toffoli for a point at -130. So that's it. We're kind of narrowing it down to like just a handful of plays here. Other ones that I do like: Tippett for 4 shots, Bertuzzi for a point, Brian Rust for a point, Erik Karlsson for 3 shots. I also like Kyle Connor for 3 shots at -140. Let's go over to page 2 here. Kuznetsov for a point at -110. And that's it. For some same game parlay stuff, Crosby and Russ for a point at +100. Forsberg O'Reilly for a point at +110. Kempe and Kopitar for a point at +105. Caulfield and Suzuki for a point at +115. Aho and Gensel for a point at -115. And then some longer shot 2-point ones here. Toffoli, Monahan, and Ehlers for just 1 point at +450. For them to have 2 points is 75-1. Kempe, Kopitar, and Byfield for 2 points at 22-1. Forsberg, O'Reilly, and Nyquist for 2 points at 25-1. And then I'm going to go to the Carolina guys. We got Kuznetsov, Svechnikov, and Necas at +300 for a point, and a little bit of a sprinkle at 40-1 for a 2-point night for that line. Again, it is Sorokin, small sprinkles, may not see a lot of goals there. But something to consider moving forward if you like the same game parlays at 365 is the new look in Carolina. And there's certainly some value there with Kuznetsov on that line. All right, good stuff, EY. Love it. Always a pleasure. Good luck tonight, guys, on the ice. FTN March for 35% off FTN Bets and FTN Daily. All picks across all sports, Discord channel, all that good stuff. We'll be back on Thursday for another busy slate, and I think we're going to open up some cards. We may have to do it on Friday. I may have to go solo and do it on Friday because imagine opening cards now after over an hour show with 14 games. Good luck.
I'd do it, but we don't want to scare everybody away.
We're psychos. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck on the ice. Cheers.